If your partner is abusing you, the last thing you should do is go to couples therapy. Let me tell you why. First of all, lots of women come to see me after they have attempted couples therapy with their abusive partner. You may or may not be surprised, but it doesn't work. But that's not my point here. My point is that going to couples therapy with an abusive partner is very dangerous for the person who's being abused. A few things happen when you are in a couples therapy situation with someone that you are afraid of. One, you are not going to be open. Even if the couples therapist interviews each of you separately first before you come back together and start the actual therapy, chances are you're not going to feel safe enough to be fully honest about what you're experiencing, because you have learned, and your nervous system has learned, that if you speak up about how you're actually feeling and he doesn't like it, you're going to pay. Another thing that happens is that abusers are not going to show up to therapy if they actually agree to go, which oftentimes they will not do. But if they actually agree to go, they have an agenda. That agenda is to get the therapist on board with them to identify you as the problem and put you on the defensive. Now, most therapists are going to pick up on this. However, I have heard stories of therapists that did not pick up on this. And think about what happens. If you are already traumatized by being abused by your partner, and then you go and you see a professional together, and that professional is agreeing with your partner and focusing on you as the problem, this professional is an authority figure, right? So you're already being gaslit by your abusive partner. And now that message is just getting reinforced by that therapist. What happens if you are honest and you do tell things that are going on? A couple of things. The abusive partner is going to get angry and storm out, leave, refuse to come back, get very defensive, accuse you of lying. It's not going to go well. Or they are going to really punish you and lash out at you even harder as soon as you leave. And you're never going to go back. Now, if the therapist picks up on the fact that this other person may be abusive and pushes back or starts to challenge the abusive partner, they're not going to like that, so they're going to leave and not go back to therapy. So that's why it doesn't tend to work. But my main concern is it's putting you, the person who's being abused, at risk for further harm. And now you've got another opportunity for your partner to gaslight you or be abusive towards you or target you or manipulate you. And now they've got an authority figure that they may be able to get on their side. I think couples therapy is wonderful. I used to do couples therapy in my practice years ago. I actually enjoyed it. It was really hard and it really drained me a lot. And I think there are a lot of wonderful couples therapists out there. But couples therapists, I hope, know this. And if they don't, they need to know that you need to be screening every couple for signs of abuse. And you need to be asking the right questions. You need to be, like you're asking an individual client normally, we need to be screening more for abuse, and specifically emotional abuse, because that is happening everywhere, all day, all the time. And a lot of times the person who is experiencing the abuse does not recognize that that's what's happening, and they're not labeling it as that in their head. They just think they're having conflict, or they're going through a rough patch, or they just need to do more, or there's something wrong with them. Something else that I see is with pastoral counseling, or sometimes even faith-based licensed therapists. You know, a lot of times I hear these stories, so I'm not giving statistics because I don't actually have them, but I've heard several stories of people going to their pastor or to a faith-based licensed therapist, and the bias was towards keeping that relationship together at all costs, which when someone is being abused, that's a disaster. So what do you do if you are in a relationship and you're not sure if it's abuse? So you're not sure, well, should we try couples therapy? Or if I'm being abused, well, then it's not going to help. So then what do I do? If you're not sure about what's happening in your relationship, you can always reach out to a therapist. And even if you just meet for one session to talk about what's going on and try to help you clarify what's happening. That's what I do in my practice. If you're not sure and you're struggling with trusting yourself, but you know something's wrong and you're not happy and it doesn't feel good and you're full of anxiety all the time and you're walking on eggshells, I can help you figure out what's going on. And I'm not going to push you. I want you to be clear and I want you to learn to trust yourself again so you can figure out what is right for you and what makes sense for you. And whatever that is, whatever that looks like. If you just want support, if you want to learn how to be more assertive or how to express yourself more assertively or how to set boundaries, we can work on that. But bottom line, if you hear nothing else that I say, trust yourself, trust your feelings. If you feel like going to couples therapy, that your partner isn't open to being accountable and to owning their part, and if you're getting the feeling either they're overtly expressing it or you're sensing that they're identifying you as 100% the problem, then talk to an individual therapist and try to get some clarity. I am starting a group June 12th for a maximum of 8 women. I have a few slots left. It is emotional abuse recovery. It is structured. I am being very selective about who I put in this group, so it's either current individual clients that I know very well or folks that are new to me that I am screening very, very thoroughly for appropriateness for the group. It is online. I've created a workbook to go along with it, and I think it's going to be really, really great. So if you're interested, check out the link in my bio.